Hey, it's TDA and welcome back to episode 5 of our Dyson Sphere Program Let's Play. At the end of the last episode I actually said, let's fix some power in between the episodes and let's continue from there. But while I was doing that I was like, hey, we haven't actually talked about power stations yet. Power stations are old school, like real world. They use coal. And at least the initial ones do. They are quite efficient at getting you a lot of power. All you need to do is pretty much set up these little bits of coal productions over here. There's some water over here, so that's why I'm bringing it up a little bit. And then you can put down power stations. Now power stations are a little bit interesting because you can actually chain them, and I'll show you how. So if I put down a power station, let's say over here, and I do it like that.
A thermal power station. Such power facilities need to consume chemical energy fuels. If you want it to generate continuous and stable power, you need to ensure a sufficient fuel supply at all times.
Thank you. So, thermal power plants can pretty much burn anything that you can also burn yourself, so it needs fuel to go in. It has a maximum capacity of, let's actually say over here, but it should be, if you click over here, it should tell you, yeah, so 2.16 megawatts. And megawatts and megajoules transfer one by one. The energy efficiency is 80%. That means that whatever you put in will be transitioned into energy at an 80% efficiency ratio. So if you look at coal, which has a 2.7 megajoules potential, if you multiply that with 80%, hey, what a coincidence, you get exactly 2.16 megawatts of energy if you put them into these machines. Now they will burn at 1 per second, and there's 6 per second on the belt, so you can actually put in 6 power plants on one full belt. And assuming that you actually need all this power, you will be getting quite a lot of energy out of just one belt of coal. Now of course coal will run out at some point, but right now we have 900,000 left, so that will be quite a while to go. But the bump in your energy is actually quite a lot. So if you can see all those, you can see the entire forest over here and then another forest over there of turbines. All those turbines together are getting us 22.2 megawatts of energy. Now if we do this, and put in the sorters over here, going in, going in, going in, going in, going in, going in. And you can probably do this with less sorters as well, but I have them, I might as well use them. Now if we now connect these up to our power net, oh, there already are, you can see we just bumped our entire energy production by 13 megawatts. So that is over 50%, almost 50% of what we already had in place. Actually it's over 50% indeed. And now we have completely satisfied all our power needs. And that is quite awesome, just by these 6 power plants. And of course, if we need more,
the data shows this is a planet
here
without natural titanium veins. Perhaps you can get some by collecting gravel. If you need a massive titanium collection, you need to find a planet rich with titanium veins as soon as possible.
And then we'll be doing that as well. Now the other thing is that you can also just work on the graphite, for example. So we have, as you can see, way more graphite than we need in this belt. So if you want, you can also put down a few more power stations to make use of that while we're not using it for our science, just so it doesn't go to waste. We don't need it at the moment, but that's completely up to you if you want to do that. Now you can see this oil over here has actually been quite nicely filling up. It's about 1/3 full. It's over 3,000 oil there. So let's start thinking of a way to put that to use, shall we? It is worth knowing that, like I said, for every 1 second, 1 oil per second, you can have about 2 refineries. And then per 2 refineries, you can actually use the new recipe that we got in a multiple of 2 as well. So we have 5 refineries over here. Well, 6, but the 6th one won't actually be doing a lot anymore since we are now below 2.6 production. So we can pretty much take this one out without losing anything in the process. let's just do that. Keep it nice and clean. So that means we can have about 10 more refineries doing the new recipe that we have. Now, which recipe was that? That's this one, the X-ray cracking that turns oil and hydrogen into more hydrogen and graphite. So let's set that up. I actually use this same setup pretty much all the time. So again, what we will be doing is, since we have this nice depository over here, let's just make use of that and make sure we have our new little setup close to where we started. Let's do it like that. And 1, 2, 3. Take one out. So we have a place to put our power poles. Now there's different ways in which you can do this. This is a very straightforward way, but what you can actually do is flip it around as well. Do it like that. If you want it to be a little bit more organized. It will all get into the same belts. Now that does mean that we need to split this up. And that's of course what our splitters are for. We have one of them over here. There we go. So we have one line of crude oil coming over here. And then I am probably out of these refineries. Yes, I am. So sorry about that. Let's go grab a few of those. Flying over the water for a moment. At the end of the last episode, we restocked on our circuit boards, but they have not actually taken full production just yet. So we'll need to pick up a few of those as well. Let's just steal them from a few of these other buildings that don't actually need them at the moment. They will get around eventually. I can't be bothered to wait for them at the moment, so let's put those in, and we'll have a few more of these coming up in a moment. Now while we do that, let's talk about research for a moment as well, because as you can see we are researching a few new items. We are reaching the point where we need titanium, as the tutorial just explained to us. And there's none of this, no titanium on this planet. Actually, there is a little bit. You might have mined something at the start. And these larger rocks like this one, or especially the huge ones like that one, they typically give a guaranteed amount of titanium. Let's see if I'm right. There you go, so that's 22. But yeah, getting it like that would mean we have to hand mine it all the way, and that's of course something we don't really want to be doing. So if you want to avoid that, then we need to go off planet soon, and in order to do that we need some personal upgrades, and those are over here. So you need specifically this one, the second level of drive engine. That will unlock the Mecha Sail, which allows you to go off planet. That means you need to get this one, and this one also requires, I think, which one is it? The Mecha Core level 2, so that's this one. So that's why those are queued up like that. Now, in order to do that, you need some raw coal, sorry, I keep saying coil, but we are mass producing that at the moment, so that's really not a problem to get. So we'll just steal that from our graphite production for a moment. There's probably some backed up here as well. Yeah, there we go. And there we go. So that should be completing now. And let's hop back over to our... How many of those do I have now? There we go. 4, so we need about 6 more. I already had 1, so 5 more actually. Let's see if we have 5 now. Maybe even more. 9. There we go. Alright, so hydrogen and graphite from X-ray cracking. Now, of course, you can do this smaller scale, but yeah, we have the stuff, so let's just make use of it. That means we have the splitter over here, and we need to take that out there and there. And then, because this is mirrored, we need to set this up again. And again, I just put everything on the same belt. I'm lazy like that, but if you want to do it differently, then by all means, do it more neatly. Split it up. Whatever makes your fancy, of course. It's your game. Do whatever you want. But this is just simple, effective, gets the job done. And it's a quite compact build as well, so that's why I like it. Okay, so we have the oil coming in, and hydrogen and graphite coming out. Now, there's different ways in which you can approach this, but typically the easiest way to do this again would be with a splitter. So I actually just ran out of those. Hopping back to our mall again. Usually what you notice is that the first time you actually go to the mall, you pick up the maximum amount and then you don't need to go back for a while. So while I'm here, let's pick some of those up. We have enough. Well, we never have enough sorters, so let's pick some of those up. We actually have a full amount of belts, so let's increase that a little bit. We can never have enough belts, that's for sure. Assemblers, miners, we have plenty, I think. Should do for now. And then we can use another splitter here. Now I can fly. You can actually fly around the planet now as well.
You have received the ability to fly. Double-click the space key to lift off, and then use the arrow keys to control mecha movement. The moving speed will increase by 150%, with more energy consumed under flight mode. Pressing the Alt key can return the mecha to the ground during the flight.
Now, there's different things you can do with the graphite coming out of here. If I set it up like this, I can simply set the filter here to take the hydrogen out this way. I actually want to take out this now. Which also means we don't need this anymore. And we actually do need that still. Sorry. For one very simple reason, because we need to have both, we need to have both the oil coming in as well as hydrogen that comes out. And one trick that you need to use here is this will be putting out the graphite, but also will be putting out hydrogen. But we need hydrogen to go back in as well. If you do it like this, this will make sure that whatever hydrogen is being put out, it's also being drawn back in wherever that's possible. Now, that also means I need to adjust this a little bit. Let's actually build it a bit too much to the front. The outgoing sorter, there we go. So you put the outgoing sorter in the back, and then 2 more ingoing sorters in the front. And that way the hydrogen that will come out will go back in as much as it can before it's actually being released back into the system over here. That just means you only need to kickstart one of these once. So we do need to grab a little bit of hydrogen from the belt. This actually won't work because we have 2 different things going into the storage now. So while the storage is being emptied, oh sorry, I wanted the splitter. We need a little workaround. This actually doesn't work. Well, let's just take that out for a moment. It's the easiest way to fix this problem. Sorry about the mess. We'll clean it up in a moment. There we go. And we can just connect this up straight. There we go. This will now be splitting everything equally. That's fine. We need to power this up. Let's power that up. Let's power this up. That one. That one, that one. That one. Now, as you can see, this is not actually working just yet. But it will once we just kickstart it once. And of course, it helps if we actually have it inputting the oil as well. That's because I wasn't done copying this. There we go. There we go. There we go. And let's do the same over here. So tap, tap, tap. There we go. Now, it should actually be drawing in, assuming you set it to the correct recipe. So the X-ray cracking, so it will now be drawing in the oil. We need to make sure we set the same recipe for the rest as well.
Double-click the space key to lift off to enter the flight mode, and keep pressing the forward direction and space keys in the flight mode, and you will enter the sailing mode when you reach a certain altitude.
I've actually set up sort of the wrong way around, so this will fix it. There we go. So it's now drawing in. Now we just need to kickstart it once. And let's do it with some of the hydrogen that's over here. I can't actually pick it up anymore, but that's okay. We don't need that many. Now we'll just need to do this manually at first. If I was not as lazy as I'm being now, you could actually just do it a lot more simple by picking up some more of this oil, because as soon as it draws it back in, so now this one for example has picked up its own hydrogen. If I get this a little further along the chain, you can see the second one starting up as well. Because I used this one to kickstart the process, if I do the same thing over here, this will actually keep working. This will progress along the line and there will be hydrogen coming in a while anyway. Now we have graphite coming out here as well. We don't actually need it because we have way more graphite than we need on the other side. So I suggest just to put this to good use and have a few more power stations over here. Just like the ones we put up above, because again you can never have enough power and this will avoid us getting overflow in terms of power. There we go. Now there is one more thing. We might actually end up producing more hydrogen than we need. And hydrogen can be really useful later on in the game, so but you don't want this to stack up and basically block your production. So what you can do is just set up some storage units over here. Now they will actually sometimes try to connect on the upper one, which is really annoying. So if you zoom in a little bit, you take care of that issue. And this will actually take forever to fill up because we have plenty of hydrogen coming in. We probably won't have an overflow for a long time. But for example, right now we are stuck at production of this because I haven't picked up graphite and I don't have any wood. So let's fix that. Let's mine some plants. Helps you if you can actually pick them up. And don't worry, I'll actually show you an easy way to clean everything up. Because sooner or later this is probably also going to happen to you, that you have all this stuff lying around. You can just delete everything with one press of the button, but you have a shitload of oil here. So it's a bit of a waste to do that, I think. So let's not just do that just yet. And again, my inventory is full. But we're going to clean up the oil anyway, so let's just drop the oil. Let's drop the plank. And let's get some coal going. There we go. So now this should be progressing, cleaning up some of my inventory space maybe as well. I had some excess here, so here we go. Let's place a storage unit over here. One we want to empty. Sorry, I was just looking where to place it. It is worth noting that if you have a storage facility and a intersection between belts, so for example like here, if I put it here and I put a belt like this, it will actually prioritize this one, and then when this one is empty it will start emptying the or when this one has a gap it will then start emptying the storage. So if you take it up, it will gather it all up and it will plop back down. But by doing it like this, you can easily click it up. 227, there we go. And you get the gist. You can easily keep going like this, fill this up, and then you make sure nothing goes to waste. We have this going on now. We have our nice little hydrogen production going on. Let's see, is all of this working now? This one isn't, because we're actually backed up on the graphite. So let's make a few more of those. It's not letting me copy, but that's okay. We will just do it manually. That's fine. It is not actually consuming all the energy right now because we're not needing all that energy, which means we need to start producing. And this is one of the things that you will run into a few times during the game as well, that you simply have more production than you can actually consume. Your production might back up because of that. Not a big deal, just see where the issue is and then you can fix it by making sure the root is actually there. And there we go. Now once we fix this, there we go. Making sure it can get all the way in. And then finally making sure it's actually powered. This should start flowing again. That should start flowing again. And this will start flowing again. So this again now started up because it could lose its output. And that means this will start moving along the line, and this should start working again quite soon as well. Now we can make this as big as you want, just to make sure that it doesn't stack up anytime soon. Just keep an eye on it. If you see your research slowing down or anything like that, then yeah, it is time to check back. And if you put in a few more power plants, then you can make sure that that will never stop again, and you'll be fine either way. With all this production in terms of science, it should not be backing up anytime soon. Plenty of stuff to research here, some inventory capacity, which is always really nice, and blueprints, which are really nice if you want to mass produce your buildings. Vertical construction is actually really nice to have as well, so you can stack up your storage units one more. Vein utilization is nice, so your veins are consumed less fast, and your miners actually are a little bit faster as well. Doesn't really matter if you only put miners with 6 veins at least, but for example with the 10%, if you put on 5 miners, then with 2 miners you almost have a full belt again. So yeah, that's a thing you can do if that's what you want. You can care a little bit less basically around your miner placement, for example. Now you also want to start researching some of this stuff. You don't immediately need it, but like I said before, just make sure you have titanium smelting so you can actually smelt titanium at some point, because we will need that for the later stage buildings that we will be discussing during the next sessions. Now I will be cleaning up this and I won't have you go sit through that, but I hope this made it clear how to organize your little X-ray cracking facility over here. As you can see, most of it is working now. Again, only these two need to go. But as you can see, we also have some hydrogen progressing down the line over here, so this should start working up pretty soon. We have a lot of hydrogen being produced over here. We might actually have some excess. Yep, yeah we do. You can always just delete the excess. There's pretty much an infinite amount of hydrogen and oil in the game, but yeah, might as well just keep it just in case you want to use it at a later point for something else. It will take quite a long time for these things to fill up. And since we just researched vertical stacking, we can add another layer, we can add more storage units, etc. I just recommend keeping it if you can. Alright, that was it for this session. A little bit shorter than the last one, but the last one was a little bit longer, so I think that nicely cancels each other out, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.